There are a lot of people who go to church every Sunday, and when they get off of church, they go to work on Monday, and they like, guys, we got to get rid of Susan. She just had a triple bypass. She's gonna be on health leave for 9 months. We got to figure this out before she. And nobody says it. They don't never say it like that. They collude, right? They collude to get this person out by any means necessary. You start off wide, right? With all these options and choices.
Me, I'm looking for substance. So if you can't come with a substance level of conversation, I have no interest.
Okay.
You black man, taking the liking of how my lifestyle is living and how I'm going, man. And you being intrigued, man. That's very humbling for me, man.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Elizabeth?
I'm great. Eric, Shade, which one do you prefer? Shade?
You can say Shade, but if you mess up, it's not a big deal. I never rely on that anyway. It's just a way to keep myself a little bit out of the public perception so I can have a normal kind of life.
I get that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I have to do that. You know, when you have like a normal job, you know, you never know how podcasts can be, how they can go. And, you know, I just want to make sure that, you know, I have a little separation here and there. Most people know my name, so it's not that big of a deal. It's just for the wide public, you know what I'm saying? Like the people outside of us.
Yeah. I totally get that. I actually considered that before I started my own podcast and ended up using my own name because I'm like, you know what? And in the end, I'm like, I ultimately, what I'm talking about on the show, even though at first glance it might not seem like it, because my podcast is called Bitchin Boozin. And
Bitchin Boozin.
Yeah.
That might get you in some trouble.
But it's actually like just super lighthearted and fun, and it's like I started it with one of my best friends, and you know, we just have a little drink and chit chat, you know. Yeah. So.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah.
And hold on just a second before I get started. See, I have to make sure because I think I pinned myself instead of you, which is crazy. Because all I'm looking at is this ugly face. And I'm like, that shouldn't be there. Hold on just a second. Add a pin. And then I need to remove a pin. All right. That's a little bit better.
So are we going to actually record the podcast this evening?
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
Oh, we're doing it. Okay.
We doing it. Hold on. Who was that who said like? No, go ahead.
I wasn't sure if we were just doing like a little like get to know y'all like recording, or if we were just doing it. We're diving in. I love that.
Well, Elizabeth, I enjoy that. Definitely. But I've had a rough few days, so I kind of threw it on because I was like, I'm kind of behind. It's crazy how like you like doing podcasts and things like that, but then life gets in the way. So normally, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like normally I'll give you like a little form that you can or cannot fill out. I found that a lot of people who podcast or want to be guests, they're like, I don't have time for it. Just throw me on. You know what I mean? And let's get it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, you can do it if you want to. If you don't want to, it doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
But so usually I do have like a formal process. So when you just said that, it almost like right there, it just kind of got on me. I was like, damn, I ain't seen this lady yet. Like nothing.
It's okay. I mean, I don't need formal. Like I am totally fine off the cuff. I just love conversation. Right? I think I've mentioned that a few times. Like I'm just here to like talk, you know, and learn from each other and experience what, you know, what's in your world and what's in mine, and, you know, just share. I think that's like Those are the best. I actually get more anxious if I have like a list of like questions that I know you're going to ask me ahead of time or something. I actually get a little more worked up over that. I don't know why. I prefer it to be
No,
more organic.
yeah, I agree with you on that. Uh, I used to try to do like the Q&A style of podcasting. Um, but that's when I was just like getting started off. I didn't really understand anything about it. I'm not one of those people who like I would rather than go to YouTube and figure it out and just work along. So I'm sure well, of course, I destroyed a bunch of podcasts. I've got some podcasts that I obliterated from either it was audio, video. I got one lady with a yellow square around her head because I kept the autofocus on and didn't remove it. Whatever. I read the organic stuff too. So the Q&A is great for some people, but I don't really think it's ever a fluid thing. I think it's just one of those things where like you feel like you have questions for a person and you want them to answer that. But when you think about it, one part of it is it's interrogation,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
like, I should be in a dark room with a glass, with a mirror glass.
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is it's robotic, right? It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
fluid. It's not
Yeah.
fun. It's choppy. I hate it.
Yeah.
So I like this. So I'm glad that you are a person who can adjust because as soon as I think that a person can adjust, and I'll get on here like, hey, you ready to go? And they're like, no, I'm ready to actually just talk to you before. I got one guy who we're like 5 weeks in, and he's like, I just want to keep talking to you. I'm like, do you like me, bro? Like what's going on here, man? I don't get something strange around here, man, because I never want to talk to dudes that much. But
You gave him like a great space to do it, and he probably felt comfortable talking to you. And I think that's so important too, as like a podcast host, to like create that space where you feel like you can talk and like share and open up
mm-hmm.
on both sides. And so it's hard to find. And if you make it easy and feel good, then that makes it that much more enjoyable. And like I could see that. I could see why people would be like, like, can we just keep doing this? Like this is cool. I actually like this, instead of like
Yeah.
feeling intimidated or, like you said, even interrogation style like
Mm-hmm.
podcasting
Yeah.
or questioning, so yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, what's your modus operandi?
um, I think right now, I am loving to chit chat about like identity and how important like connecting to who we are is, and actually
Mm-hmm.
how to do that. Like,
Right.
not just like saying like it's important that you know who you are so that you know what you like and you can go out and do things. Those are all really, really big things and super important and powerful if you're like trying to figure out what you want in this next phase of your life. Like if you find yourself
Mm-hmm.
in a career, for example, or a relationship even, that you're like, I don't want to continue doing this. This isn't for me anymore. Like, I want to move on to something else, but I don't even know who I am anymore. And those are the kind of conversations I like to have, is like help people find the clarity. And I love doing that through speaking, like giving them the opportunity to speak and say it out loud. Because I think there's so much power behind being able to talk about what it is that they like, or figure out what they like through speaking about things they used to do, reconnecting to things that they used to do when they were kids, and just like creating moments of joy and lightness, and then rediscovering like things that we enjoy through that
Mm-hmm.
kind of activity. So that's where I'm at right now, and I'm loving it. And I'm also, I challenged myself to get on 100 different podcasts this year so that I could do
Oh
exactly that
wow.
myself, so I could talk about what I love. And um because I think there's also another layer to that too. If we're talking about things that we love, we are magnetic, and people are attracted to us, so it can,
Mm-hmm.
good things come to us that way. And if we're like hating our lives and we feel like we can't like change something, and you just, you get kind of sucked in and it feels like everything's bad, we start focusing on the negative. And it's super easy to do, but it's also easy to kind of flip the script too, and really start like telling yourself, like, I'm going to start focusing on something that brings me joy instead of makes me miserable. Or I'm going to start creating space for something that I used to like doing and see if I still like it, or try something new. That's kind of
Yeah.
long-winded.
No, not at all. No, let it rip. I like that. I mean, it gives me time to think because this brain is very small. Okay. It's not a lot of,
I doubt
it's
that.
not a 40, 44 years old, not a lot of synaptic connections left. Okay. Um, yeah, all this time my eyes are like, like, no, I'm just joking. But excellent, excellent. Yeah, podcasting can give you that. It can get, and I think that's what's missing in kind of like the atmosphere of podcasting is organic conversation. However, well, let me say this. It's the organic conversation, but on the flip side of it, you have the entertainment side of podcasting that really seems to be the most beneficial type of podcasting because we can have an organic conversation. No one will want to listen to it
True.
because it is very boring and lethargic, right? It's like listening to your mom go like this the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay. But so on one side of podcasting is what we try to do, but then it's this more influential side where I can talk about, well, usually it's a person who is very wealthy who has a podcast, or it's a person who is not so wealthy but is very influential, or the person is just like really low vibration, and it's attractive because it's like, I've never heard somebody say stuff like so heinous, right? I've never heard somebody say things so terrible.
Yes.
It's very attractive. Like my new taboo favorite is the booty warrior. I'm So hold on.
I'm writing it down.
Okay. No, I want to say pause after I said that. But okay, so the booty warrior, but you just don't think you know him. Okay.
Okay.
And it's all right, we'll get on higher level shit. But at this time, I just kind of thought like it's organic. I'm talking about this. But anyway, so you remember the HBO documentary back in like maybe 1994 about the prison population.
Yeah.
And they interview all these different prisoners. And it was this one prisoner who stood out. He wore the skull cap. He had glasses like mine, okay, which I don't even want to be associated to that at all. But he famed himself as the booty warrior, okay, because in prison he allegedly was one of the hot people. You know what I'm saying? He was.
Yes.
So anyway, he talked about all this horrendous stuff on HBO, and it was the first time people ever got a view. And it was before like the Oz show, so I have to think like maybe the Oz show that was the like first HBO type of platform kind of show where it was a continuum. The first like really legit HBO show, Oz. I want to say that because of the things that he said and the prisoners talked about on that documentary, that's what gave us all of the HBO that we have now. And I'm not talking about just like Oz. I'm talking about The Wire. I'm talking about Game of Thrones. I'm talking about any long-running, just continuous show like we get now with 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons came from that show because of how influential that show was. But anyway, he talked about some heinous stuff, and now he's like a cultural icon in podcasting because people play his stuff, and it really speaks to the negative podcasting that's taking place today. That's why I kind of think of him. I almost look at him like an experiment. I'm not saying I'm fond of his podcast that people put on him, but I'm more like looking at it from an observational standpoint because it shows how deep this thing can go. And if you keep looking at podcasting, you're seeing a continuous spiral away from, there's no middle class people really who are popular in podcasts. Have you noticed that? It's either
I'm like, oh, I
very
feel like I am now as you're saying
no, you
that.
could be. You could be. But I'm saying the lower we talk about, the more popular we get.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not a lot of representation from normal people like us. See, I'm long-winded too. How about that?
I love it. I love it. But I've never heard the podcast, and I was like, as you were saying that, I'm like trying to search my memory, and I'm like, this sounds vaguely familiar, but I'm not placing this character, and now I'm so curious. Like, I can't wait to go start.
Yeah, type in Fleece Johnson. That's his actual name.
What is
Okay,
it?
it's Fleece Fleece
Okay.
Johnson, and
Okay.
he's got TikToks. He's got man. It's just like, and the music is like Michael Myers music behind
Oh
every
yeah.
podcast. So it's whatever. But it's just like, I try to podcast for normal people like us, and
Yeah.
I try. But the one thing that I want to pull out from that is, long-winded as that was, is the fact that we have to look at podcasts from both sides of that, and we have to use certain elements of it. So podcasting, even if it's normal stuff, it shouldn't just be a Zoom. It should be entertainment. It should be educational, but at the same time, it should have a little bit of controversy. We should talk about more things than a lot of people talk about, because what I'm seeing, the common denominator with what I see in normal podcasting with us is like, we're just on a Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah. It gets
We do that
boring.
shit we do that shit 5 days a week at work or something like that, and then you're just back on a Zoom, So if you notice, you're looking at me from like a sideways view, and that's intentional, because I want my camera to kind of pick you up on this side, and then I have a camera that picks me up on this side, and I have a couple other cameras, because I try to do like camera angles and stuff like that, because I want to give like viewers, even if I can't give them depth, I can give them different shots and different things that can kind of like, I can use, right? Like tools. So I guess that was the longest winded thing that I've ever said. It took me 5 minutes to tell you that I got camera angles. Am I up? am I, am I that bad of am I that bad of a podcaster?
No,
I
but
just took you to France and back, right?
No, but
Anyhow.
as you were even talking about that piece of it, I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, you see it so strongly too in the television that we watch, and that like the reality
Mm-hmm.
TV and the drama, and like how people are drawn to that, and it's just like some of
Mm-hmm.
it's so toxic. I'm like, oh my god, like, walk away
But we
from it.
watch it.
We absolutely. I actually have a show that I'm watching right now that the whole time I'm watching it, I'm cringing, and I can only watch like 30 minutes, 45 minutes at a time, because I just like have to like walk away from it. But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm also hooked to it. Like I want to go see
Yeah.
what happens next. Like I want to be like who in their business, and like so I completely see that translating, that same mentality, like kind of translating over into like the podcast world too, and like what makes the stuff nobody else is talking about, like, and the dark stuff, the stuff nobody wants to say,
Right.
how that makes it like that entertainment value really click in, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like let's talk about the stuff
So
nobody
you
else is
so
talking
you
about.
like Euphoria, okay? Right?
Euphoria?
Yeah,
I've heard
that's
of
your
it. I
show.
have not seen
Oh,
it.
okay. I keep getting that across my news feed is Euphoria, and like somebody's naked, and they've never did this naked on camera before. It's like, how HBO is very
Yes.
provocative. So it's got to be nude people on there, but that's the big thing that everyone's talking about. So what show is this?
You're probably gonna laugh at me. It's The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Okay. What? Well, okay. I mean, that is a secret. That's provocative, though. It's a secret life of really like poly relationships that, are made to seem like they can fit into normal culture.
Yeah, and these women are kind of trying to break the cycle of like the traditional Mormon like lifestyle and belief
Mm-hmm.
system, and be more free speaking, more women's empowerment. So they're actually not polygamous, but they do have like a swinging scandal, and then there's all this stuff behind it, and it's very like, and then the girls just kind of like fight constantly, even though they're promoting like women's empowerment and, you know, speaking up and like be your own woman, right, and all of these things, and like kind of liberating the Mormon wife, like, you know, whatever the system, breaking that system. Yeah. And in the meantime, they are like kind of tear each other down. And it's really, it can be really hard to watch, honestly, because they just fight constantly. They're in each other's business. And, you know, it's just wild sometimes.
Oh, yeah. So before we get down to the meat and potatoes, I do have some questions for you about the Mormon stuff, because I assume that all of them were polyamorous or polygamous.
Yeah.
Or is polyamorous like a science thing? I don't know.
No.
My brain is loose.
I might need.
Am I right?
ChatGPT.
No, please.
Can you help us?
Yeah, no, do it right now. That's what I like about this. Is like, I don't care. Like, I'll get up and go take a pee and come back. It doesn't make a difference.
I believe that they're one and the same, but I might be wrong. Polyamorous versus
polygamist.
Polygamist.
I think it might be the same, but just like the construct of the word is like, you know, we're in a polyamorous relationship, or you know, we practice polygamy.
Yeah, just like how you use it. Oh, this says it's two very different relationship structures.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Polyamorous means being open to having multiple romantic and or emotional relationships at the same time with the knowledge and consent of everyone involved. And then a polygamist is someone who practices polygamy, which means being married to multiple spouses. So it's usually one man married to multiple women.
Oh, okay. We got some of those in my culture. That's called player. Yeah, we call that a player. Yeah, we say crush a lot. That's what we say, okay? That's what we call that there. Yeah, they're not getting away with murder at all. And that's what fascinates me about that. Is like, it's just one dude who is pimping. That's it.
Yeah.
You got all these women working. It's the same thing.
Yeah. You know what's interesting though? They have a word for one woman who is married to multiple men, but I've never actually heard of this before.
Is it called horigamous? Or I'm just joking.
It's actually called polyandry. Polyandry, I hope I'm saying that right. One woman married to multiple men, which is much more rare. Yeah. And it's marriage, not just dating.
Oh, so you see what you guys can learn on this show? You can learn a lot about shit that you probably don't even care about. Anyway.
Hey, you can go on Jeopardy and maybe answer that big question on Jeopardy that like no one else knows the answer to. That is for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. Did we get all that out of our system? I feel like I need a flush.
I think so.
All right. One ply or two? Which one is
And you know, it's funny, if we're going to talk about that, I actually am pro bidet.
Really?
Yes. Do you have you experienced, do you know anyone else that talks about this? This is something I talk about all the time. I actually have gifted bidets for Christmas presents, birthday presents, housewarming, like you name it. I believe that everyone should have one. They're the best thing.
I'm pro bidet, but I'm more so pro washcloth anytime I have to do anything. And just, I like reset. I like to start over. It's like when I fight with my wife. It's like, can we just start over? Let's not just, you know, continue this and let it drag on. Let's repeat, you know, let's just wash, rinse, start over, and let's get the day started.
I appreciate it. And
I'm for bidets, but I'm not for you being at my house using it. I would much prefer when people come to my house that I don't feed you, that you don't eat before you come over.
Just
that you
don't have to use my facilities.
That you manage what you have to manage,
right?
Before you come over here. I want you to come over here an empty vessel so you can take on a lot of the things that we talk about, or a lot of I'm a weird person like that. Matter of fact, it's like my friends will be like, "Hey, can I go in there?" I'm like, "No, go in that one. Go where the kids go. That's my spot. Okay, that's where I live at. You don't need to be in there. You don't even need this." I got friends who have not seen my bathroom.
Interesting. That's very interesting to me.
It's a private, special place. It's not a place for you. I had a friend who came over a long time ago. I think that's where it came from. He used my other bathroom, and I was like, "Man, where are my pills at?" So I think he peeled out on me. Yeah, I think it literally, for lack of better term, I think he peeled out on me.
No.
Yes. And they were like oxycodones for like a leg injury or something like that. And they were going. I was like, wow, somebody at this barbecue took my pills. So I found, I still cry about those to this day. That was pills that I didn't get to experience, but they were gone. They were gone. It was my fault for feeling like, people can go in your bathroom without exploring a little bit, but somebody at the barbecue stole my pills. So I just kind of I have my own little bathroom. I have my own little space. Of course, my family can use it if they need to. I don't prefer that, but I would much rather them, and mine is a little bit smaller than theirs. It's the half bath. Just leave it alone.
Okay.
Yeah, let it be. But
you don't even need to be.
So anyway, long story short, I don't want my friends to poop at my house. That's what I'm saying. Poop somewhere else. I don't want to waste the paper. Yeah. So I feel like we're crossing that threshold.
Yeah.
Where we are going to garner some attention, some unwanted attention. Okay. What is your claim to fame with podcasting? Are you into coaching, mentorship, women's rights, LGBTQ? What is it that hinges you on podcasting?
Oh my gosh, this is a really good question. And I don't know that I have one answer for it. I love constructed, good back and forth conversation, like we've already said. Love that. It's my bread and butter. I could do this all day long. I love getting to know people. I love to feel each other's energy. I just love that. That aside, I coach. And like I said, I think I touched on it. I primarily like to work with women who are I found myself in a situation where I was completely disconnected from myself. I worked a corporate job. I hated getting up in the morning. I have 2 young children. I was waking up and just dreading going into the office, spending so much time there that when I got home, I was giving the worst parts of me to my kids and my family. Mm-hmm. And I just got to a point where I was burnt out. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I loved anymore. And I know that happens to so many of us. And I just don't want people to linger in that lifestyle, because life is short, dang it. And I just think we need to reconnect to ourselves. And as woo-woo as that sounds, reconnect to our bodies, feel emotions, not be numb all the time and just with a phone in our face, scrolling TikTok or having an adult beverage. I mean, those things are fine if, but not if it's keeping you from getting to be you and feel who you are and be present. Ultimately, just be present. And again, getting to share that experience, getting to be on podcasts, talk about that. I have so many other life experiences that have actually led me up to wanting to help people experience life in a different way, feel it, not just sit in it and accept it for what it is, because I think a lot of us forget, or we're conditioned to believe, that we don't have a choice.
Right.
And we can't choose the life that we want. we grew up believing that we have to work hard, so we work hard, or we grew up thinking like this is what was handed to me, so this is what I have to live with. This is all I can ever do for
Mm-hmm.
myself. And I don't think there's many people that without some push that like actually get to a point where they're like, no, I want more than this.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, so what I'm hearing from you is you like to give people inspiration. You like to give them like an opportunity to learn new skill sets. You like to basically, like you said, coach, but it must be a certain demographic of people that you coach. I mean, everyone's not coachable because some people have it down, some people don't. And I imagine it's the people that don't that who you find most enjoyable to coach. So, what are some of those elements that exist within people that would make them favorable to coach?
Oh man, that's a good question too. I think they have
Yeah,
to.
my nose is bleeding. Yeah, when I ask,
You're-
no, when I break when I break the maturity membrane, my nose bleeds. So I'm surprised I don't need tissue right now. Go ahead. Every now and then something great comes out.
I don't get it. Why? Do you want the truth or do you want what kind of answer do you want? The truth, of course. Here's the truth. Okay.
You said yourself, like it's more about substance than
Literally my everyday life when I wake up, the things I go through, the things I do, I'm definitely finna start streaming and giving y'all the rawness, man.
This thing is very real. It's real, but the thing is, people who do this for real.
It seems that we only come together when it's something negative. Let's try to do something positive. I think we need to get back to more of that instead of the reactions of something.
All y'all come at you and sit your hands down. Let me tell you what's wrong.
They don't think they need it. You begin to start understanding like this is what I like, this is what I want. You start
Oh my gosh, I'm so sidetracked. I think some of the characteristics of somebody that's coachable is someone who notices that they are not happy with their life or want to change something but aren't quite sure how to do that.
Right.
Because a lot of times I think if what I hear a lot of and through people that I have coached is like, I'm the breadwinner. How do I change my career? How do I just stop working at this job that I hate so much? It's like draining me, but I provide for my family. Or, how do you just blow it up and start over? And like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so much more than that. Like, I think we do get so used to changing things and having things at our fingertips, like we can DoorDash food in 10 minutes. And I think we think that change in our life has to happen that fast too, just because everything else around us is moving so quickly, and we don't give ourselves the space and the grace to really like let things sink in. And we like try it once or twice, we're like, oh, it didn't work, I guess you know what I mean, like. So
Yeah.
I think it definitely takes like a person that is like, I don't care what it takes, I'm going to change my life, I don't want to do this anymore. And just recognizing that there is something there that they just don't enjoy anymore, and enjoy isn't even
Mm-hmm.
like a great word, but um if you're waking up miserable every day, if you're dreading going to work, if you're mean to your kids and you don't like your husband or your wife anymore, like, and you're like, I used to like these people, I used to like me,
Right.
and now I don't anymore, and I don't know why, but I know I want to change.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's important because a lot of people who don't like things outside of themselves don't like things inside of themselves either.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's like really a lot of the things that you are is just a reflection of you. I didn't want to say, but just not being kind to yourself, right? So you take it
Exactly.
out on other people. Uh,
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
what's happening in here?
Right.
What are your
Right.
thoughts? If you catch
Mm-hmm.
yourself like having these like really negative things that you say to yourself all the time, like maybe it's time to check yourself. Like maybe it doesn't have to be that bad. Or maybe you can flip the script and be like, no, instead of like saying like, oh, I have to go to this stupid job, you can be like, I get to go to this job. It could be that simple. I get to go to this job that provides for my family and gives me vacations. And if that's what you have to start with, then you can start to see the positive things. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off if I did.
No, kill it. Yeah.
I just heard this incredible saying the other day, and I have been saying it ever since. And it was just like asking God to show me the most amazing things that he has in store for me today. And you just wake up and you just start your day. You're like, God, show me how amazing this day can be. And right off the bat, you're just going out into the world looking for the good things, you know, and it could just be something that simple to start your day with if you're not used to doing it or catching yourself in the thoughts. And it sounds like, you know, like this is too much work. I don't even want to do this, you know, like just start your day off looking for something positive. And if it's just saying like, God, show me how amazing this day can be. You know, like that's a change. That's something that like gets you started in that momentum of looking for something positive instead of what other shitty thing is going to pop up today.
Yeah, I get that, but let me kind of push back just a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, so when it comes to life, right, and when it comes to things that people have to endure, I'm a big firm believer in the philosophy, which comes from Buddhist philosophy, is that the normal, typical mode of life is suffering. And I've seen, and that's the first principle in Buddhism. I think if anybody who's Buddhist out there, you can correct me. I'm still gonna say that's the first principle. But the world is suffering. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it's a rarity to have such a joyful life that we have, most of us, if we're above a certain poverty line in this country. But it's important to see like that poverty line is the poverty line for the entire world.
Yeah.
So say like, let me put it in this context. Let's say the poverty line is $50,000 or maybe it's $40,000, I think, or something like that, right? That is the highest poverty line in the entire world that is under, and I'm talking about first world, right? So everybody in second world, third world is far below that. So, and I hate to equate happiness to money, but let's be honest, when you're in a capitalist society, which some people will say like, no, this isn't a capitalist society in this other country. But yes, it is, because everything in this world is based off the US dollar, right? So I struggle when people say that this is not a capitalist society or they don't have capitalist goals. So what I'm getting at is so many people who are suffering in the world. How do you apply that same message to people who are not in a good situation? And then to think like the situation that these people are in, and they're American. I think you talk to these people in America, they're probably in the best situation out of all the poor people.
They probably are. I actually have clients all over the world. I've talked to people from India, Australia, all over the place. I would say that they're still, you know, upper to middle class in those countries, the individuals that I've worked with personally, but
yeah, they have computer screens. They can talk to you.
Yeah, they're working, they have jobs, yes, right. Exactly. But okay, so you did a little bit, but I have to tell you, Go ahead. I grew up in poverty. I grew up in a home that didn't have hot water all the time. I grew up in Louisiana in a trailer that had no insulation. Our pipes would freeze. I had to wash my hair out in the hose just so I wouldn't be dirty going to school. Like, we used to boil water on the stove to put in the bathtub to have a warm bath. Like, yeah.
I was eating coon meat.
I have done that, you know, and I have experienced.
Y'all was eating them possum legs and coon ankles, and
I didn't hear what you said until after.
No, that's what I was thinking. Like, yeah, y'all was eating squirrel tails. Y'all was doing a lot of that stuff. I mean,
not knowingly, but I wouldn't. I mean, I've seen that too, and I have to say, like, I think, I haven't experienced some of the worst areas in even the United States. I haven't had to live in, places where we're worried about kids getting shot. I haven't had to experience it at that level. So I can only speak as far as I have been personally. But
I'm just asking, like, how do you address people who are not so apt to seeing that perspective that you offer? Like, how do you address them?
I want to talk about money because how do I address, like, how do I reach them?
Like, how do you reach to them? How do you connect to them so that they want to come back, so that they want to be a part of your coaching?
Okay, this is a little different. I mean, I'm thinking, like, if we're using money as something that, like, if we're talking about money, or if I can't relate to them because they don't have money or something like that, is how I was kind of perceiving that question at first. I think ultimately, no matter what your situation is, I mean, I talk to people who are poor in other ways, right? They don't have good relationships. They don't have friendships. They don't have other things that they want. They can't have children. There's other ways of being poor, and I can relate to them just fine. It's not so much money, but, like, I mean, I guess, the way that I'm reaching people are through podcasts. Physically, I'm on podcasts, I'm talking to people, I go out in public, I'm telling people what I do in public, I'm getting on stages, I'm just talking to people in my church community. I share what I do in those areas too. It's not just virtually and through podcasts, but I really love this world. I really love this podcast world. But if we're talking about it from, like, how do I relate to you? I relate to you as a human, wherever you are, and whatever your experiences are. Because I probably have something that I either can feel through that conversation and I get it just by talking to you, or I've experienced something similar myself and have had to come through quite a bit to actually get to where I am and have the mentality that I have and be able to share with people, how to change that, how to flip the script, so to speak, and start living a more authentic to you life.
Okay. So real quick, number one, when I do this podcast, like when I edit this podcast, if you trip up, if you are, like, having some spaces, because the questions I'm here, like, we didn't talk, we haven't talked, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think, like, and that's what I hate about podcasting. Like, some people, and they'll be like, yeah, just let it rip. And you'll say some out. And then they'll be like, hey, you gonna get rid of that? Like, no, this is what I need. Thank you. Matter of fact, this is all I'm gonna air over and over and over, right?
Yeah.
I messed around and said something one time and I've only done one podcast, so somebody else's.
Oh, really?
So only one. Yeah. And I said some very egregious stuff, and I didn't know I was saying it. When I watched it back, I was like, damn.
No.
And I had to tell this dude, like, I was like, hey man, you think you could maybe chop that out for me? He was like, oh, it was live, man. There's nothing I could. Yes, you could have. Okay. Yeah. So I was like, dang, man, like, I'm not. And that's the thing. So anyway, I said a lot of other stuff too when I went back, because it's my very first podcast. I had no clue. I thought we were just having a conversation. And the sad thing is, I had already been doing this like 3 years. I just never sat in the hot seat. So the thing is, like, for me, I've always, on my podcast, I've always given the guest an opportunity to view and be a part of the editing process.
Nice.
So the first part of editing for me is I find the things that can get you canceled.
Thank you.
The first draft. Yeah, the first draft is me finding things that you might not like.
Have I said something that would get me canceled? I hope not.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Phew. Okay, but just in case.
No, I'm just, sidebars are great with podcasting.
Love that.
It's almost like when you watch Family Guy and then it jumps off into like some Italian dude stepping on rakes and he's, it's like those little side, like, little visions. So I try to do that because life is boring without that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I try to do that. That's the first step, is I try to give people that first draft of me clearing out things. The second draft is I send you a link. You get to look at it. And you can say like, hey, I kind of nudged up on that. And I just say, hey, give me the time. Give me the time that you want cut and I'll fix it. Okay. So I cut out. So I say that to say, which I didn't get to do that with you, which I'm very sorry, because that is what I like to talk to people about beforehand, is let it rip. I'm not going to make you like a fool. You know, I'm not going to get you. If you like curse words and you're cool with it, I'll let it play. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't, even sometimes if you like it, I'll still get rid of it. Like, I interviewed Judge Joe Brown and I got rid of so much. He'd have made Ron DeSantis like feel extra huggy that day if he got to hear this stuff. Okay. Or Ron DeSanctimonious. Okay. He'd have got to. Yeah, him and Ron would have been like this after this podcast, okay? Seriously. Because that he talked about was so, like, it was, but he's not cancelable.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? He can't be canceled. So, but still, yeah, I took it out because I was like, I don't want that. So I say that to say, curse, say horrible things, I'll get rid of it. I'm not into that stuff. I'm not into clickbait. Yeah, I'm into like just organic stuff like we talk about. So anyway, thank you. I just wanted to let you know. Because I noticed when you was talking, it's like, you know, that could be like, that could kind of be shutting down because it's like, I'm off. I've lost my rhythm.
Yeah.
When I lose my rhythm, I'm trying to catch back up.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, lose it, grab it, do whatever you got to. You're totally good. Okay. So, all right. See? Another side mission that we just took for no reason.
A little detour.
Yeah. Detours are good. Life is a detour. So let me ask. So you come from a corporate background. What type of corporate background? You don't have to be specific with the name, but what was it?
I was in management accounting. So I have a master's degree in business and accounting, and that's what I've done did for a long time before I realized this was not for me. And that was an appropriate response. Like anytime anyone says anything about accounting, I yawn now too. I'm like, that is just not my thing.
It just didn't fit your personality, or
no.
You got tired of doing the math and what?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. It was not my personality. I was always kind of like the black sheep in the office that was like, hey, everybody. Like I was, everybody was introvert. I'm pretty extrovert. I don't know if you can tell.
Right. I noticed that.
I just, I started out in tax, and then I moved into overseeing like expenses for multiple facilities. And being the only person that managed the expenses for hundreds of units, and it was just exhausting and sucked the life right out of me. And it was just not. And it'd be one thing if you like actually enjoy doing the work, but there was nothing about it that I enjoyed. I feel like I've always had a calling to like do something to help people, but I just didn't know what that would look like, and I always had to pay the bills, so I couldn't take a step back from that life that I chose, like right out of high school, which is, I don't know why, that's when we're like telling everyone like, hey, go decide what you're going to do for the rest of your life before your brain is even fully developed. But that's another side tangent. But like we don't like give ourselves that much time, and I certainly was in a place where I felt like I had to, we were first generation, my sister and I were first generation college students and in our family. And so I felt really pressured to just like stick with what I chose. And, I'm like, well, even though I hate this, I have to do it, and kind of just got stuck in that and hated it. Absolutely hated it.
Okay. So you took the money and ran.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is this a full-time thing for you, the podcasting and coaching?
Yes. Yeah. Now this is my life. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
So is it, Is it a stabilizer financially? Is it, or do you have like other side things? I'm curious about this.
No, I don't have any other side things. I am married, and I do, we made sure that before I left my corporate job that, we were set up for me to take some time and try to figure out, we're on a special needs journey with one of our sons, and
Oh, okay.
so I needed to take a step back and kind of be more present and just kind of figure out what the needs were for him, for our family. And so it was really emotion for us to get into a space where I was, being available more and being more present as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of guilt around not being there for him. And because my husband and I were both working for private equity companies, which were extremely time consuming, and literally, like when I say they like suck the life out of you, they demand so much of your time. And
Right.
and so we were both working like that, just crazy hours. And my mom actually moved down to Florida with us, and was the primary caregiver for our kids. And I'm like,
Mm.
this isn't what I
This
want.
sucks.
Yeah, this isn't what I want.
Yeah.
And so I worked a little bit longer until we were in a position to be able to let me walk away. And it was that getting to walk away and get to be with my kids and got that clarity around, like, I think when I had that job that was pressuring me so much to just perform, 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 and you put that mask on and you just show up and you grind and you get the job done,
Mm-hmm.
that I was the women I coach. Like
Right.
I lost who I was, and I, had to kind of go through this like rediscovery and like, oh my gosh, like life can be so much easier. Like it's not all bad, and just
Mm-hmm.
like having this like rediscovery. Like I've always been a pretty happy, joyful person,
Right.
despite some of the things that I've experienced. But like I didn't ever give myself, because I couldn't. I had to work, didn't always give myself the space to figure out
Mm-hmm.
who I was. And that's why I think it's so important that even if you don't have that available to you, if you don't have a husband that can like pay the bills, or
Right.
you haven't figured out how to work that out financially, that you can still create the time. That was a piece that was lacking. Nobody ever gave me permission to go be me
Mm-hmm.
anywhere else. Like I was like, okay, I'm living my life just checking boxes. Like, okay, I'm married now. Oh, okay, now I'm,
Right.
having the kids and doing the things that we're supposed to be doing, and never really checking in with myself to make sure that any of that was what I wanted. You
Yeah.
know?
So I mean that's a 180 definitely, because with everything that you just mentioned, and I understand the corporate world, um with that grind and that thoughtless kind of, I'm just going to get the job done. There's a lot of people who, well, this is just my perception, and it might be anecdotal, but what I've come to see is that when people have that mindset of, I'm just getting a job done, I'm just getting a job done, a lot of people are in between getting that job done, and you almost have to like disregard uh, people. But with me saying disregard, I mean, you have to make decisions about people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to, especially if you're in management, you have to make certain calls for people who, it's just business, right? You have to lay people off. People with families, people with disabled children.
Yep.
I've been in those situations to some degree where I've had to make certain calls like that. And it's mind boggling to me because I can't always second myself. I always can't put myself outside of myself to be
Mm-hmm.
able to get those processes done because I have feelings. So
Yeah.
for you to actually, yeah, and I have empathy, right? And
Yeah.
for you to have to come over to this side of just like it seems like you're totally engaged in people. I'm just I'm just wondering, is there a bit of maybe for some of the decisions that you may have had to make in that type of business world? Is this almost like a not a guilt trip, but almost like I want to correct some things here. So I'm not only podcasting for others, I'm podcasting for myself.
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I think like there were definitely some times where I had to make decisions and, relay performance information, and
Right.
that didn't feel good. No matter how much I was rooting for someone, it didn't always matter. I never looked at it that way. I think, I still always saw those individuals as humans, and I always treated them as humans, even when I had to let them go. I think the last person that I had to let go, I was pregnant, and I cried more than they did, which was embarrassing. But it was like,
and I'm sure HR was like, "Stop that! Stop crying in the office. Get the,
what are you doing?
you go step out." Wait, Elizabeth, can you step out for a second, okay, so we can actually person over?
Yeah, can you just leave the room and let us do this? It was never fun. It's never easy. Even if it's not working out, like it's never easy, because for me, like that, I think that's the piece that I could never get comfortable with too. Is like, I can do a job, right? I could do the accounting, like that was fine. Like it's not hurting anyone. It's numbers, like it, but like the
Right.
people aspect, that was something that I have never really disconnected from, even though I had to do things that like didn't feel good. I had a
Right.
really hard time with it, and I always expressed and I felt like
Yeah.
in those instances. So
It's not fun. I think it's easier
no.
when the person is actually, it's easier when the person is actually doing something to deserve it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
business is unkind.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It has no human value to it, to be honest. So you find yourself dismissing people or terminating them because of numbers alone. And the craziest thing to me, here's the craziest thing to me, is that the people, and I'm not saying you per se, but the people who are letting go of people because of financial shortages are the people who oftentimes are creating the financial shortages by not being good managers and not being good directors and executives to begin with, right? So it's like, I always question, like, should you be fired and that
Right.
person stay? Like you're the one getting the $15,000, $20,000 bonus.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are we getting rid of the $30,000, $35,000, $40,000, $50,000 person who actually needs this job, and they've done nothing to be let go for except your mismanagement?
Yeah.
It's mind blowing to me, and that is something that is tough to stomach. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I can see why you made this jump.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's super hard to stomach. And I have mixed feelings, because I think sometimes those things that happen in those ways are universal pushes to either help us find something that's better, or like, again, I think a lot of this is mentality. Like if you're looking for it to be a shitty experience, and you're just like, yeah, okay, I lost my job, now what am I going to do? I'm not going to find anything else. Like,
right.
If you're stuck in that mental state, in that mindset, like it's gonna keep you, it's gonna hinder you from finding that next thing that is better. But if you look at these opportunities too, and I kind of like that this came up, because this is kind of like that, like flip the script, like change your mentality. Like it really isn't that, like, I'm just some like girl who doesn't know what it's really like, saying that. Like, I've lived it. I've also worked my ass off to like get somewhere in a career that I felt like was never really for me, and I was forcing it, pushing myself to get there, and really all I needed to do was just kind of take a step back and figure out what I wanted. And I know that sounds so simple, but it's like when we start following what we want, and we start doing the things that we enjoy, or at least being able to incorporate it in our lives until it can become something lucrative for us.
Right.
Like I said, we change our magnetism. We change the opportunities that come to us. We change the outcome, the direction, whatever you want to say. Like that's how change happens in our lives. And
yeah,
so I kind of like those. I like those instances. No, it doesn't feel good, but I like to look at those as opportunities to like kind of shift our mindset and find something better.
No, I totally get that. But so for instance, there are people who will not get that for mechanical reasons, right? Like old age, that's pretty mechanical.
Yeah.
Or disabled, that's pretty mechanical. health wise. That's mechanical.
Yeah.
Even the functionality of being a mother with young children, trying to balance work-life schedule, in many instances, that's mechanical. And, oftentimes it's this idea that, well, we didn't ask you to be a mom, or you knew you were getting old, or life is life. You didn't know you were going to be disabled, right? You know what I'm saying? But so all of these people who put in countless hours to support, usually it's not the function of the job. It's actually to support the position of the manager above them to make them look good. Those same managers in return, after 5, 6, 15, 20 years, we've heard the war stories. That same manager who you supported actually has to turn around and say, like, I gotta let you go because we didn't do a good job with our math. We made too many wrong investments as a company. And, we made some faulty investments, did some mergers, picked up some stuff that we shouldn't have. It fell through. Bad bet. You were here before that even happened. We got to let you go. Or, I think that's easier to digest than the fact that, okay, here's something. Those people who are disabled, those people who do have those mechanical issues that I just mentioned, a lot of times we have to lie. Flat out lie to create the circumstances that person can be let go for. Does that make sense? If it doesn't, let me just tell me and I'll try to redirect.
Yeah, I was trying to piece it together, but
Okay. So what I'm getting at is, so oftentimes in jobs, like, say for instance, this person has been doing a pretty decent job just across the board. Okay. It's okay. Their job is fine. In management, sometimes you're given directives to change the normal workflow for things. And I'm not saying change it so that you can create some type of revenue increase or something like that. Just change it because we know that we're getting ready to lay off in 6 months, right? We're going to change the requirements. And now that person who was doing pretty decent, now they're not doing so good. And now we can write in their employee evaluation, didn't meet the standards, right? And now you start to, instead of you just being honest with this person, because I know you can't sometimes because it's like you're disabled or you have this circumstance, that circumstance. Oftentimes in management, I've noticed that managers will not management, let's just say people who are in those higher positions have to almost move the needle, right? So now what you were doing that was good, it's not good anymore. We're kind of creating the environment to fire you.
Yeah.
The things that you used to do are fine. Now we're going to find something else. Like say if you're a pregnant woman and people want to get rid of you, it's very hard to get rid of a pregnant woman. But what do? Now you start picking on her work habits. And now it's like, we got to let you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the moral of it, for the point that I'm trying to create here, is that working in these type of spaces in management, in these higher positions, it can really make you do some things that go against your own moral character, your own good intentions, right? For the benefit of a job that will eventually let you go as well.
Yeah.
So working in, like, you having this job and having to leave it, I'm sure it's more to it than just wanting to change. And I mean, I'm sure you gave me a good explanation, but I'm sure like it kind of went against some of these things that, like it's a tough job. And I don't think people get that.
Yeah.
You have to shut your feelings off to be in management.
Absolutely.
You cannot be go ahead.
No, I 100% agree. I mean, I sat next to people that did great work, and, being private equity, we were owned by Wall Street. Like it was a medical company too. I don't think medical companies should be owned by Wall Street, by people who aren't doctors and have no idea how to run a business like that. Because then it is all about the dollar. And so, yeah, I would be sitting next to someone one day that was, doing great one day and getting praised, and then the next day we're gone. And it was because, like, I'm sure something about their performance wasn't perfect. And so they were, no longer employed. And it was to save money. But yeah, of course, then C-suite still gets their bonuses, and no, we don't. We get a pizza party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that part of it is extremely hard, and just wondering like when it would be my turn, like
Yeah.
am I
Yeah.
am I next? Like, because it felt like no one was safe. Even people in our C-suite were getting, the on the chopping block, so it was like it didn't really matter where you were in the company. It felt like if you couldn't cut it, like you were out. And then they would reorganize the business so that, we don't actually
Yeah.
need this role anymore. We're just going to give all of this responsibility to this person. And if they can't do it, we'll let them go. We'll find somebody else who will do it and probably take half the pay.
Yeah, and then the worst part is you do the 2 for 1, right?
Yeah.
So you like, okay, we can't get rid of the pregnant woman. So let's get rid of the pregnant woman and the guy with Down syndrome, right? Let's get them both out of here. We can do a twofer. That way neither one of them can make the claim that it was something that was discriminatory.
Right.
Because I got rid of both of you, right? You both
right.
going. So it's like very disgusting stuff.
It is. It absolutely is disgusting.
Yeah.
Like that part of it is really, really unfortunate. It's so sad. And it's infuriating. And I think that was like the ultimate, like, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't want to be a part of that world. I don't want to be associated with it. I prefer to bring light into the space I go into and not, try to fight and to bring light into this darkness that I have to go to every day, and just like feel like it was draining me. Absolutely.
It would be, that would be fine. Everything that I just mentioned, besides the twofers and discriminatory practices, would be fine if the company was bottom lined out, right? Like, we are riding with less, none of us are getting rich here, but oftentimes that's not the case. It's so much money flowing through these organizations. And I hate to jump off into this, but you say you like organic conversations, so I feel pretty organic.
Yeah.
It's not like these places are struggling.
Right.
It's like 3 or 4 people at the top who don't want to give up $50,000 a piece. You know what I'm saying? To keep 5 good workers. Yeah, it's absolutely deplorable work. It goes against any conscionable person's morals and character. You know what I mean? All the way. Yeah. And what sucks is a lot of times it's some highly valued Christian people at the top who claim that they love Jesus, while they're cheating on their wives and getting caught kissing at baseball games, while they're cheating, who are doing this heinous shit and getting away with it.
Yeah.
So, I often wonder, well, I bet they often wonder, why do people hate me? Why is it that, my friend was walking down the street and some person did something horrible to them. I'm not going to mention it, but somebody did something bad to them. But it's like, dude, you are a vile person. And when you apply it to the context of, let's say, like a slave master, let's say like a Nazi, right? Everybody has this thing that they say, I'm just doing my job.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's just my job. But when does your job take away from you? Like, why would you let a corporation take away from you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, side conversation, but at the same time, I think it's one that needs to be had because there are a lot of people who go to church every Sunday, and when they get off of church, they go to work on Monday, and they like, guys, we got to get rid of Susan. She just had a triple bypass. She's gonna be on health leave for 9 months. We got to figure this out before she. And nobody says it. They don't never say it like that. They collude, right? They collude to get this person out by any means necessary.
I don't get it. Do you want the truth, or do you want, what kind of answer do you want?
The truth, of course.
Here's the truth. Okay.
You said yourself, like, it's more about substance than
Literally my everyday life when I wake up, the things I go through, the things I do, I'm definitely finna start streaming and giving y'all the rawness, man.
This thing is very real. It's real, but the thing is, people who do this for real,
It seems that we only come together when it's something negative. Let's try to do something positive. I think we need to get back to more of that instead of the reactions to something.
All y'all come at you and sit your ass down. Let me tell you what's wrong.
They don't think they need it. You begin to start understanding like this is what I like, this is what I want. You start to vibe,
You know, so it's very it's a horrible it's a horrible thing when you actually start to talk about it, and it's taboo to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it,
No.
because the only people who really know about it is people who are in management.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, oh, it's a great time to talk to somebody who's in management. You know,
Yeah.
I have these conversations with my wife too, and you know, sometimes she's like, that's not true, but when I break it down to the minute, when I get down to the molecule, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean,
All right, let's get off the phone tonight.
I just think that what you're saying though, the point that you're making is super powerful, right? It's how much can you follow a leader, right? Like, where do you become your own person? Where do you start to speak up against some of the stuff that's happening? And unfortunately, what happens in those big corporate companies is if you start to speak up against what's happening in there, they just find a way to get rid of you.
There you go.
And
there you go. It's collusion.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what keeps
it alive. It keeps that it's fear. It's 100% fear. Fear and
it's
greed.
Fear. And when you think about, and I like to talk about this because I think it shows a lot about human nature, is when you apply this to the worst of the worst, which people say like Nazis, or like I brought up, like people who were a part of the slave trade and things like that. When you apply it to that, now you can see the depravity. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, the craziest thing is the person who is actually fearing making those decisions, not making those decisions, is the person who's usually doing pretty good and can actually take a hit. You see what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is like the people who are making less, because 40, 50, 60, 70% less, are the person who need those positions. Yeah. But the people who are sitting around colluding are the people who could maybe take 3 months off of work.
Right.
They just don't want to fail. I have always designed my life, right? I don't buy new cars. I don't buy new homes. I don't do anything like that. But I make decent salary. But I've designed my life to where when you tell me to go, or when I feel like we're not good here, I got to make some horrible decision, I'll tell you goodbye. Right? Yeah. And people always ask like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Because I don't want to be a slave myself. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And the reason why I'm talking about this is because I applaud you for being the type of person to be able to walk away. There are people who who started when you started in these positions, and they'll be in these positions until they're 90 years old. Okay. And they'll be on their deathbed, talking about, Lord, I thank you for a great life, and all this stuff, but never thinking about the things that they had to do to have that long life, right? Mm-hmm. While the person who actually was busting their ass at a company has passed away long ago from stress, mm-hmm. Because they were worked to the bone for $35,000, $40,000 a year, knowing that they should have made more. Let's think about our teachers in society, right?
Absolutely.
Right? You got superintendents making 300. I don't know where you're in Florida. I don't know what the housing, what the market there is, the economics is there. But here up north, it's like, we have a superintendent that can make $350,000 a year, but the teachers are making $40,000 a year, and they're working with the worst fucking kids ever on the planet. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that the kids are worse, but what I mean is more so is like the kids are very energetic. They come from bad backgrounds. They need more support. They need more care. They need more love. They need more attention.
Yeah.
Those people have to go at home and sweat while a superintendent is like, this is a No Child Left Behind program, and you need to have these kids at a C. So these people are the real hard working people. And when you apply that to like our culture, it's the middle class. I mean, our society, the middle class are the teachers of society, right? You bust your butt. You make between $50,000 and $100,000 if you're lucky. Usually, you're right at 50 if you're blessed.
Yeah.
You and your wife can make $100,000 a year. Yay, right?
Right. Yeah.
And you have to bust your ass for years upon years to get a pension that you can't even get until you're 30 years into a job, and it's only going to be 80. It's going to be 60% of your pension base, right? You know,
yeah.
It's I don't know, whatever.
No,
well, I do applaud you.
It's backwards.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you. It was not an easy decision to make, and again, like I said, I had a very fixed mindset around like, you know, this is what I went to school for. I have $100,000 in student loan debt, like. I had plans on getting my CPA. Like, I was just going to keep checking the boxes, you know? And so it was really hard to walk away from that. Everything that I had given up to like achieve what I had and just let it all go. But the walking away was so liberating that I would never go back. I don't even think twice about it. You know, and so I like to be a voice for that too, because I want people to know that like, no matter what your situation is, if it's you're working in corporate, if you're working, if it's even work related, if it's a relationship, if it's, I don't care what it is, if it sucks, like this doesn't have to be what it is. You can walk away, you can recreate yourself, you can reimagine who you want to be and redefine yourself and start taking steps to getting there, no matter what that looks like for you. And that's really, you know, ultimately the message that I have for everyone that listens.
Yeah, no, well said. Elizabeth, thank you.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed like having this conversation with you. I knew no way how it was going to flow, and yeah,
we've had a very interesting conversation, but
yeah, a lot of ebb and flow, right?
yeah, I was trying to start think about where we started and where we ended. This has been a lot of fun though, and even as you were finishing up with like the teachers, I have so many thoughts around like generalizations in schools and how the systems run and all of that too. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could go off on a separate tangent, but this has been so eye-opening too. You've helped me see things from a completely different perspective, and I'm going to take that perspective with me as I move forward too. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate you as well. You know, you being able to hold on to my roller coaster brain, you know, you know, most people be like, you know what, I'm done. I'll talk, you know, have a good day, sir. You remember at the end of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right? You know, good day, sir. I said good day. You know, you know, most people be like that. But no, I think, I thank you so much. This is a fun conversation, and I want people to be able to contact you. So how can they get a hold of you, Elizabeth?
The best places, I mean, I'm on the socials. I am coach _Elizabeth_G, which I know sounds so complicated, but that's my Instagram. Elizabeth Grandinetti, GRANDINETTI on Facebook. And then of course, I have a website. It's elizabeth-grand.com.
Okay. You guys heard it first. Elizabeth Grandinetti, granddaughter of a mobster, apparently, with that type of last name.
It's my husband. I am not Italian.
Okay. All right. Don't mess with her. You'll be sleeping with the fishes. Yeah. So no, I appreciate it. Yeah. Let's do it again. I really love this.
I did too.
Yeah, have a good night, and let's do it again. I'm going to put this out soon, and you'll be first to get it, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I can't wait to do it again.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. I thought that was, I mean, like I said, I just love conversation. I don't care where it goes. I'm here for all of it. Like we talked about bidets, we're talking about it all. Like I am here for it. I think that's such a cool thing though. It just shows us how it shows people that we're human. You know, we have more than one degree of things that we're doing and what we look at and how we like approach the world. It can be fun, it can be lighthearted, it can be serious. you know, and I think we're all very, very dynamic. And I just love that the conversation just illustrates that, you know, we can be fun and be more dynamic too. So I thought that was a great time. I had a blast.